with action, but Celtic again missed another chance just 3 minutes ago to break the deadlock. Frank McGarvey crossed from the left. Roy Aitken looked certain to score, but knocked the ball past from just a couple of yards. So still no scoring at Parkhead. No scoring, and a disappointing first half for the league leaders, who have let themselves be hustled and bustled by a very determined Motherwell side, no doubt spurred on by the painful memory of that 7-goal thumping at Firth Park 2 months ago. Motherwell have kept it very tight in the midfield, not giving Celtic's creative men the space in which they revel, but despite that, the Parkhead men have had chances to score in 5 minutes when Charlie Nicholas shot past from a good position, 5 minutes later when Frank McGarvey headed weakly past when he had to beat, and in 27 minutes when Roy Aitken looked certain to score, but knocked the McGarvey cross past the post from only a couple of yards. But with much less of the play, Motherwell missed the best chances of all. In 18 minutes when Danny McGrain slipped just outside the penalty area and Steve McClellan strode on to beat Pat Bonner, but the shot was weak, and just before it crossed the line, McGrain recovered to clear. And then in 37 minutes, John Gagan should have done better than shoot high over from close range. 2 minutes later, when Bonner dropped a cross and McClellan headed towards an empty net, Aitken this time cleared off the line. Well, Motherwell will have taken great heart from their first half performance. Celtic, well, maybe they've learned some lessons. Half-time, Celtic 0, Motherwell 0. With Grand Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, and only grim determination in the second half gave the league leaders the points after they had let themselves be hustled about by Jock Wallace's men in the first period. For too long it was all too close for comfort for the Celtic fans, but it all turned out right for them in the end. If Celtic say they might have scored with several chances in the first half, then Motherwell certainly should have done on 3 occasions. First when a Steve McClellan shot beat Pat Bonner, but Danny McGrain cleared off the line. Secondly when John Gagan ballooned the ball high over from a couple of yards. Then when Brian McClare headed weakly and allowed Roy Aitken to clear that effort off the line. With 59 minutes gone, Celtic still no nearer to breaking down the Motherwell defence. George McCluskey replaced Frank McGarvey, and within a minute the move had paid off. McCluskey bored his way inside the box, and when he cut the ball back, young Paul McStay blasted a powerful drive high into the net. 3 minutes later it should have been all over when Joe Carson handled the Danny McGrain pass inside the box, but Hugh Sprott made a magnificent save from Charlie Nicholas's penalty kick. Charlie, however, didn't let that upset him. In fact, he did the best possible thing by scoring in 66 minutes when McStay had left him again in the clear with only Hugh Sprott to beat. There was no way back for Motherwell after that, and in 84 minutes Tommy Burns put Celtic 3 ahead after a powerful run by Roy Aitken. But the Firth Park man did have one last contribution to make 2 minutes later when Bobby Flavel lobbed the ball past Pat Bonner for a consolation goal. The final score, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1.
Giving yes. Ryan from the battery of photographers who greeted Alan Rough, there's no doubt that for most people today is all about how he performs for his new club. Mind you, the crew and the company are suggesting that he has only had a temporary stay of execution in Premier League terms and will be back in the First Division with Hibs in 6 months' time. And certainly as the Edinburgh side entertain league leader Celtic on a crisp bright afternoon before a fair crowd, their position in second bottom place looks very precarious indeed. With Willie Jimison in for Willie Irvin, their only other change, Hibs must be hoping desperately for a touch of the form which brought them 2 1-0 wins over Celtic here last season. While the visitors, with David Moyes taking over from the injured Murdo MacLeod, must be very confident of maintaining their unbeaten away record and staying well clear at the top of the league. 10 minutes gone here, it's still Hibs 0, Celtic 0, and indeed the story to report is that it took 8 minutes before Alan Rough handled, but he's twice handled since then, and bravely saving once from Roy Aitken and then from the feet at Frank McGarvey. 0-0. No goals. 20 minutes gone, Brian. The crowd are enjoying, but still no goals. And Hibs giving as good as they're getting from Celtic, who are missing undoubtedly the flair of Murdo MacLeod in midfield. Roy Aitken not quite the same deputy, but no scoring. No scoring. 29 minutes gone here, and still no scoring. But the game did have its best moment after 24 minutes when Charlie Nicholas cracked in a shot to hit the base of Alan Ruff's right-hand post with the keeper beaten. No scoring.
David Beggs, the commentator.
Welcome back to Easter Road, just under 5 minutes to half-time, and as you said, Brian, Celtic do lead by 1-0, that goal coming after 32 minutes from Frank McGarvey. But joining me in the commentary box today, I'm delighted to welcome Gordon Smith. Your thoughts on the opening 40 minutes, Gordon?
Yes, Hibs started off very well indeed, and I think that was borne out by the fact that it took Alan Ruff 9 minutes before he even handled the ball. But I think leading up to that goal, we saw Celtic putting together some very sort of silky smooth play that we've come to know, and they were looking very impressive at that point.
So Celtic kicking down the slope and attacking the goals to our left, lead by 1-0. Frank McGarvey getting his 9th goal of the season. So today he's got one up on Charlie Nicholas, who of course has scored 28 already this season and was denied only by the thickness of the post from getting another goal. It just smacked off the base of Alan Ruff's right-hand post with Ruff, I would have said, beaten, but we can look at that one perhaps another time. Celtic, it's the gifted Paul McStay. We've gone 12 minutes in the second half. It's Hibernian 0, Celtic 2.
And once again, David, I think perhaps that the Hibs defence just a wee bit slow in clearing that ball from the penalty area. You can't really do that with people like McStay hovering. I think not clearing that away, and Ruff
75 minutes. Well, it's David Begg.
All right, David, on you go.
It's David Begg here, Brian. Welcome to Hampden Park for the 37th League Cup final, the 8th final between Rangers and Celtic, and we're just waiting for kick-off. Referee Ken Hope has got the teams to their battle positions, if you might call it that. And let me tell you some late team news. Rangers have put Ian Redford in at full-back. So that's the one surprise perhaps in the lineup. He takes over from Ali Dawson. We'll run through the sides for you just in a minute or two as Kenny Hope blows the whistle to start this match between these two great old Glasgow rivals. And it's Celtic attacking the goals to our right. They won the toss and Danny McGrain chose to go towards his own support there, packing the goal behind Jim Stewart. And Rangers, of course, attacking the goals to our left. That's the traditional West End, where their fans are under the cover of this giant enclosure. The rain is still dribbling down here. It's not quite as strong as it was earlier on in the afternoon, but it's certainly not a pleasant afternoon as Celtic go forward over the halfway line with Tommy Burns. They're slowing it down, sliding into space again to try and find Charlie Nicholas. Weaving and turning and twisting away on that far side again. Forward to Murdo McLeod, the battle horse. Still Jinks and jockeys. Then to the byline. Can he get the crossover? Low driven ball, a chance there for Celtic, and then hooked away by Ian Redford. And out for a corner kick on that far side to Celtic. So it's first blood to Celtic in terms of gaining a lot of ground down that left. A low cross coming over. It was too near Jim Stewart. He couldn't go for it, but Ali Dawson, or should I say Ian Redford, got there to clear it. Celtic at the short corner back towards Graham Sinclair. Sinclair dinks the high ball to the penalty slot. Stewart comes, and a very good point. As Brian, and as a result, Celtic field the same team that lifted the League Cup last Saturday. Indeed, Mark McGee for young Eric Black is the only change in either lineup from a week ago, in an atmosphere of anticipation generated, as you said, by a full house of 25,000 on a crisp, clear afternoon that is absolutely fantastic. If the Dons were to win by 3 clear goals today, they would go top. But of course, Celtic are the only team in Scotland still unbeaten away from home in the league. So no lack of incentive. But with last week's cup final referee Ken Hope in charge again today, and the pitch nicely on the soft side, for once, Brian, I offer no prediction.
David Begg.
Well, we've had a most sensational opening here. 3 seconds gone, a challenge by Neil Cooper on young Charlie Nicholas, and already physiotherapist Brian Scott is on giving attention. What a start. And Rangers attacking the most marvellous 5 minutes, Brian. It's now Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. All set off by a wicked Davy Province shot that was saved at the second attempt by Jim Leighton. Then Stuart Kennedy headed off the line from Charlie Nicholas, but after another 30 seconds, 16 minutes gone, a Murdo McLeod shot was deflected past Leighton. 1-0 to Celtic. 2 minutes later, a brilliant equaliser for Aberdeen. Quick thinking by Gordon Strachan. Free kick into the box. Mark McGee the turn, the ball into the net. 1-1, marvellous match.
Sounds like it. The Glasgow Herald.
Good afternoon, Brian. And really, there should be only one winner here as champions and league leaders. Celtic play their first match at Parkhead in more than a month. But then again, Morton, struggling just a point off the bottom of the table, have a habit of upsetting the odds when playing against the bigger clubs. The team news is that Celtic have Davy Moyes in defence for the suspended Roy Aitken, while Morton include young Bernie Slavin with Andy Ritchie and Danny Doherty on the bench. Brian, I know it's the season of pantomime and fantasy, but I just can't see a fairy tale ending here for the Green-Up men this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
8 minutes gone, Brian, and there's no scoring, although maybe surprisingly Morton have taken the game to the champions and league leaders Celtic. They forced a corner after only 20 seconds. That was cleared with a confident clutch from Pat Bonner, but the closest thing came just at the other end, just a moment ago, when Mike McGarvey got himself clear, sent in a shot which hit Roy Baines on the boot and away to safety. But 8 minutes gone, no scoring.
Reynolds.
It's Brian, 22 minutes gone, and although there's no scoring, the game has now settled down to the expected pattern with Celtic in control. The Morton defence, however, is looking solid and confident, and Morton in fact missed a genuine chance in 18 minutes when Eddie McNabb got his head to a John McNeil cross and was only inches wide. But with 22 minutes gone, it's Celtic 0, Morton 0. Yes, Brian, 33 half-time, Celtic 1, Morton 1, and the champions are making heavy weather of a fixture they were expected to win rather comfortably. Surprising, Morton looked the more aggressive side at the start, and a Celtic defence without the suspended Roy Aitken looked most uncomfortable. But with the strong wind at their backs, the league leaders soon took control, and in 8 minutes Frank McGarvey was rather unlucky to see a shot come off the legs of Roy Baines. Morton, however, were prepared to attack whenever possible, and in 18 minutes they had a chance to take the lead when John McNeil got clear on the left and sent over a cross which Eddie McNabb headed narrowly past. By their own high standards, Celtic were strangely subdued and maybe a bit disheartened by their failure to cash in and pressure, and after half an hour they were rocked as Morton took the lead. The Celtic defence failed to clear just inside the box, and in an untidy scramble, Murdo McLeod turned the ball past his own keeper. Celtic could have had a penalty 6 minutes later when Jim Rooney appeared to handle a Tommy Burns header, but referee Bob Valentine was unsighted and turned down the claim. But in 41 minutes, when Charlie Nicholas went past Roy Baines and the keeper brought him down, there was no doubt this was a penalty, and Nicholas popped in the equaliser, and that's the way it is at half-time. Celtic 1, Morton 1.
But Beck, And a good new year to you, Brian. The half-time score here is Rangers 1, Celtic 1, and perhaps 1983, as I wish all our listeners a very happy new year, is going to be the year of the teenager, because two teenagers on the target after 13 minutes, Paul McStay, and after 22.5 minutes, the equalising goal from Kenny Black. But sharing commentary with me is Jim Reynolds. And Jim, your thoughts on that first half?
Well, David, I couldn't think of a better way to start the new year. An Old Firm game that's had just about everything, and at the moment we've even got the right scoreline. We saw Rangers begin well, hustling Celtic and tackling well, but just when they were settling in, Celtic struck in the 13th minute. Mark Reid out on the left sent in a low cross, defenders missed it, strikers missed it, but Paul McStay was there to crash a great drive high into the net, and that was 1-0 for Celtic. Then with Celtic looking in control, Rangers hit back with the equaliser in 23 minutes, and what a good goal it was, with Jim Bett sending Davy Cooper clear on the right. When the cross came over, I thought Pat Bonner did so well to touch Bobby Russell's header onto the post, but young Kenny Black followed up to crash the rebound into the roof of the net, and that was one each. Frank McGarvey should have put Celtic in front again after half an hour when he was left in the clear, but he shot weakly at Jim Stewart. Again, Rangers got the play back together, however, and at the moment I can't separate the sides. David, if Celtic have the edge and skill, and I think they have, then Rangers are more than compensated by their determination. I think a good result at the moment, a very good game.
So Jim Reynolds has said it all there, but the half-time score is Rangers 1, Celtic 1. And of course, from 25 yards there by the bearded Celtic captain, who was booked only 60 seconds ago. So it's a call 30 seconds ago. The prince of goal scorers in Scotland, Charlie Nicholas, has got his 31st goal of the season, and Celtic do lead Rangers by 2-1. The opening goal came after 13 minutes from Paul McStay. There was an equaliser from Kenny Black after 22.5 minutes, and then 25 minutes into the second half, well, Paul McStay had to give this time to Charlie Nicholas, and Charlie Nicholas puts Celtic 2-1 ahead. But it's been a great old match here, and Rangers go forward at the moment. The ball inside the box towards Robert Russell, the right foot shot in, and again a wonderful save by Bob. Sanity.
A word of sanity. That's very difficult in a match like this. A match, an Old Firm match, which has simply had everything. We've had everything this afternoon. The fans are loving it. And Rangers, by the way, are not down and out yet. They're still attacking at Celtic. They're playing with pride and a great determination. Here they come with a free kick.
The free kick taken by Davy Cooper onto the penalty spot. The ball's bobbing around there. A chance on the far side for Rangers. Little Celtic right wing. The referee has checked with both linesmen. I can tell him we are deep inside the final minute. The linesman just acknowledging that with a signal as Celtic have a free kick just 2 yards inside the right-hand touchline on a level with the Rangers 18-yard line. Davy Provan, hands on hips, turns it inside again towards Tommy Burns. Celtic now trying to run out the final seconds as their fans celebrate. We're now into injury time. The ball back towards Danny McGrain. Into Davy Provan, little 1-2. This will be good for Celtic. They're running out these final seconds. McGrain forward to Tommy Burns, then back again to Davy Provan, still just inside that right-hand touchline. Little 1-2, Provan into the edge of the box, trying again to find Frank McGarvey, but the flag is up on the far side. And although the Celtic fans boo and give their feelings to the linesman on that far side, there's no doubt they're very happy with this scoreline at the moment. It's Celtic who lead by 2-1, and of course they lead this Premier table by 3 points. And it would be extended to 5 points, with Dundee United still having 45 minutes or so to play against Dundee as the final whistle goes. The final whistle in this near-day battle, and listen to this crowd of Celtic fans celebrate. A tumult of green and white spilling out of the Broom Lawn Road stand. The final score is Rangers 1, Celtic 2. Jim Reynolds.
Yes, indeed. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself this afternoon, David. An excellent game. The applause is generous, and so it should be for 22 players who have given everything. It's one of the best starts to a year I can remember as far as football goes.
From David Begg.
Half-time score, Celtic 1, Dundee 0, after a first half in which Celtic's finishing, with one glorious exception, never quite matched a series of magnificent build-ups orchestrated by Paul McStay, Tommy Burns and Charlie Nicholas. Inside the opening quarter, McGrain, McGarvey twice, McStay, Provan and McLeod all had efforts which were either well saved by a fine keeper in Colin Kelly, or which were whistled just off target. But with all Celtic's pressure, a goal just had to come, and the 14,000 crowd were rewarded for their patience in the 25th minute. Midway inside the Dundee half, Tommy Burns played two magnificent quick 1-2s with first McStay and then Nicholas, before thundering a glorious left foot rocket from the edge of the box high inside Kelly's right-hand post. A real connoisseur's goal to collect. 9 minutes later, Kelly had again to look lively to first stop a double defensive ricochet from finally Smith, and then save a pile driver from Frank McGarvey. But Celtic's finishing was generally woeful, and indeed Dundee almost equalised in the 40th minute when Pat Bonner, who'd been a virtual spectator until then, did well to scramble a curling effort from Ian Ferguson round for corner. Half-time score, Celtic 1, Dundee 0.
Well,
And a surprise here too, Brian, because the final score is Celtic 2, Dundee 2, and a battling point for Brave Dundee, because they trailed 1-0 at half-time when the home team had only one goal to show for 45 minutes of almost total domination. The goal itself was a beauty. Tommy Burns worked two Quicksilver 1-2s with first Paul McStay and then Charlie Nicholas before thundering a glorious drive from the edge of the box high inside Colin Kelly's right-hand post. Dundee had only a 40th minute Ferguson shot to speak of in the first half, but they came much more into the game and out of the defensive shell after the interval. But just when the visitors looked as if they might make a game of it, Celtic got their second goal in the 56th minute. Centre-half Jim Smith gave the ball away midway inside his own half to allow Charlie Nicholas a free run in and goal. And although his shot was only half hit, the ball slipped under Kelly's body to give the striker his 32nd counter of the season. That was that, we thought, but not a bit of it. In the 63rd minute, Eric Sinclair, who'd been receiving attention from an arm injury only seconds before, got one back for Dundee with a low drive after an attempted Celtic clearance had been blocked. And inside the next 15 minutes we had Davy Provan 3 times bringing out the best in Kelly. But even without skipper Bobby Glennie stretching off with a bad-looking leg injury after a tackle from Tommy Burns, Dundee still made a real fight of it. And with just 8 minutes to go, they got the reward when Eric Sinclair again dived to head home an inviting far post cross from Jim Murphy. 2-2 the scoreline, a great game.
So Glasgow Herald.
The answer to that is no, Brian. Burns is not quite ready yet to play. But if that's a disappointment for Celtic, it has been pretty well disappointment all season for St Mirren, and they will find it difficult to cheer the supporters today, the first of 3 very demanding games for the Paisley Club. After Celtic, they meet Aberdeen and Dundee United, and they don't come much tougher than that. Still, in the Premier Division, you can never bank on anything, and as far as today's game is concerned, Saints have enjoyed some great tussles with Celtic in the past. They have Lex Richardson in the side after passing a fitness test, and back again at full-back is Steve Clark. Celtic, with Roy Aitken back, bring out or move Graham Sinclair from defence to midfield to take over Burns' place, and they should win and thus get that 100th goal. But without Burns, Celtic may find it a bit tougher than many people imagine.
David Begg.
Good afternoon and welcome to Fir Park, where after 36 minutes the score is Motherwell 0, Celtic 1. The goal coming after 23 minutes, a free kick worked out on the left involving Provan and Reid. Provan the low cross onto the penalty spot, and there came Murdo MacLeod for his 14th goal of the season. 1-0 for Celtic.
The score is Dundee United 0, Celtic 1, and as you say, Brian, you couldn't get them more exciting than this. In an absolutely bitterly cold afternoon, Celtic scored after only 4 minutes, and again the man who got it was, guess who, Charlie Nicholas. Provan touched the ball to MacLeod on the left, his cross was pushed out to McStay. The United defence ran out to play the Celtic forwards offside, but McStay lofted the ball forward. Nevertheless, Nicholas ran on, the linesman's flag stayed down, and into the United net went that ball after only 4 minutes. 1-0 for Celtic. Well, United have done everything but score after that. They've got a strong wind at their back of United. They've been peppering the Celtic goal, but they've had absolutely no luck, and they've had some excellent saves. I've seen some excellent saves by Pat Bonner to hold them back. So at this stage, Brian, we have gone now 33 minutes, and the score is Celtic 1, Dundee United 0.
Well, it's the same.
And as you'd expect, Brian, a fabulous atmosphere building up here. There's already a crowd, I'd say, pushing 40,000 in the ground, and a fair percentage of those fans have made the 150-mile trip from Aberdeen. The weather's ideal, it's dull but it's dry, and the team news from the camps is that Celtic recall McGarvey for McCluskey and Aberdeen bring in Cooper for McMaster. Gordon Strachan is on the bench, so he's just almost fit. He'll probably come on at some stage in the game. Well, neither Billy McNeil nor Alec Ferguson, of course, will accept that this is the crunch game as far as the title is concerned, but the fans out there, they'll tell you otherwise. I think the fans are right. I actually go against the bookies on this one. I take Aberdeen to win today, and if they do, I reckon they'll go on to pip Celtic for the title, just as they did 3 seasons ago.
A brave forecast there off, David Francie.
It has not, Brian, but it is just about to this very second, and about 10 minutes late, almost 11 minutes late in fact. There must be close on 50,000 in the park now, and in fact, even as I speak, the game is underway, Brian, so we'll keep you in touch, quite obviously.
So, Francie.
Yes, just as you say, Brian, just under 10 minutes gone. In fact, there's still no scoring here at Celtic Park. Celtic have settled the quicker, but Aberdeen have come back into the game, and just seconds ago, Bell had one tremendous shot which struck a defender and just went inches past Bonner's goal. But so far, no scoring.
No scoring at the...
Well, there's still no scoring here, Brian. In fact, not too many goalmouth incidents at all at this stage. Charlie Nicholas went down in a tackle a short time ago. Looked as if he was badly hurt, but he's back on his feet now, and he laid on one for McGarvey. His shot was saved at the near post by Jim Leighton. But still, no scoring with 20 minutes now gone.
And see.
Just even as you come over to me, just a bit of a rummage round about the Aberdeen goal there. The ball cleared away, but there is still no scoring here, Brian. There's been sadly a lack of goal-mouth incidents. In fact, both teams confining their play mainly to the midfield. So still no scoring here at this stage. Yes, and Celtic have in fact broken the deadlock. The goal came after, with well, just about 10 minutes left at half-time. That's a couple of minutes ago when McLeod pushed a free kick toward the Aberdeen 18-yard line. It was heel flicked on by McGarvey, and there was who else but Charlie Nicholas, and he shot home off the inside of a post. So a situation now at Celtic Park is Celtic 1, Aberdeen 0.
And Ian Paul.
Still no scoring, Brian. Celtic looking a little purposeful since the second half, and for a marvellously gritty performance in the first half by Dunfermline. Still no scoring.
St Mirren through to the quarter-finals.
Yes, final score Celtic 3, Dunfermline 0, and it took Celtic a long time to tame the men at the bottom of the First Division. But in the end they won through comfortably enough. Full marks though to Dunfermline for making things very interesting for quite a while. Celtic, who had created surprisingly few chances in the first half, made more than enough after the break. The Fife goalkeeper White did well to halt one deflected shot. He also stopped a McLeod header, but should have been beaten when McAnally gave McGarvey a clear shot. He blasted it over the bar, however, and there was no doubt relieved to make amends by scoring the vital opening goal in 68 minutes. Collecting a throw-in on the left, McGarvey cut inside, got past three men en route and shot past White. Even after that, the chances were scorned. McCluskey, who had come on for Sinclair, shot against the keeper, and White touched away a McAdam header. But with 10 minutes left, it was McGarvey who virtually ended the Fife hopes. A fine Nicholas passed left him clear on the left, and he ran a long way before shooting into the net. With almost the last kick of the ball, McCluskey shot through a ruck of players to make it 3. The final score again, Celtic 3, Dunfermline 0.
So that Harold.
Good afternoon, Brian. Well, for the first time in more than 2 years, Celtic begin a Premier Division match as something other than league leaders. Knocked off the top by Aberdeen 2 weeks ago, Billy McNeill's men face bottom club Kilmarnock this afternoon, and they do so with everyone fit apart from long-term injury man Tommy Burns. Pat Bonner's in goal, having passed his fitness test. Graham Sinclair at left back, and Dom Sullivan fills in the midfield. Kilmarnock, without suspended Ken Armstrong, have Derek McDicken at centre half, and Jim Coburn comes in at right back. There's also a place too for Big John Burke up front. I know it took 2 late goals from Charlie Nicholas to win the match last time Killie were here, but I don't expect Celtic to leave it so late today.
Details come from Jim Reynolds.
Well, Brian, 12 minutes gone and there's still no scoring. Already Celtic have Kilmarnock pinned back in their own half for most of the time, but the Ayrshire side are defending well and haven't looked in any real trouble. Only a Frank McGarvey header going anywhere near the target. So 12 minutes played, Celtic 0, Kilmarnock 0.
Reynolds.
Yes, Brian, 21 minutes gone and still Celtic haven't found a way through a tough, well-organised Kilmarnock defence. Charlie Nicholas and Frank McGarvey are being firmly held, and only long-range efforts from Murdo McLeod and Paul McStay have caused any bother at the back for Kilmarnock. So 21 minutes gone, it's still Celtic 0, Kilmarnock 0.
From Jim Reynolds.
Yes, indeed, Brian, because 27 minutes played and Celtic now lead by 1-0 through a Charlie Nicholas penalty goal in 25 minutes. The man fouled Murdo McLeod, and would you believe it, the offender was none other than his young brother Alistair. So Celtic lead by 1-0. Yes, Brian, no change here either. 35 minutes played, Celtic still lead 1-0. That penalty goal by Charlie Nicholas after 25 minutes.
Yes, please, Jim Reynolds.
It is indeed, Brian. Half-time score, Celtic 1, Kilmarnock 0, and not as easy for Celtic as most people believed it would be. Kilmarnock have defended well, not giving Charlie Nicholas and Frank McGarvey much room at all inside the penalty area, and they've also gone forward when the break was on, and that's also caused problems for Celtic. The Parkhead side, however, had the edge all through the first half, but I feel their problem was in trying to come up with the spectacular when the simple thing would have been much more effective. In fact, it took a penalty goal from Charlie Nicholas in 25 minutes to give them the lead, and that was a real family affair, Murdo McLeod being fouled by wee brother Alistair. Apart from that, only a header from Frank McGarvey and long-range efforts from Murdo McLeod and Paul McStay went anywhere near the target, and Nicholas should have done better than shoot against Alan McCulloch when he had only the keeper to beat. I don't imagine Billy McNeill will be too pleased at the moment, despite the fact that his team leads 1-0, because that's a scoreline only by courtesy of a magnificent save by Pat Bonner from John Burke just before half-time. The score, Celtic 1, Kilmarnock 0. Yes, Brian, final score, Celtic 4, Kilmarnock 0, and a comfortable win for the champions, who eventually got it right against relegation-threatened Kilmarnock. Celtic had the edge throughout the first half, but didn't look really convincing against the Kilmarnock side, who defended well and who weren't shy to do a bit of attacking themselves. A magnificent Pat Bonner save from John Burke just before the interval being proof of that. In fact, it took a family confrontation after 25 minutes to give Celtic the lead. That's when Murdo McLeod was fouled by young brother Alistair inside the box, and Charlie Nicholas gave Alan McCulloch no no chance with a penalty kick. 6 minutes after the interval, Celtic increased that lead when Tom McAdam put Frank McGarvey clear with a tremendous pass. The little striker raced towards the byline and fired in a low drive, which McCulloch got a hand to but couldn't stop. And in 70 minutes, when Paul McStay set up a chance, Murdo MacLeod made it 3-0 with a blistering drive from the edge of the box. That effectively killed off Kelly's challenge, and shortly afterwards, Paul Clark, who had been booked earlier, was sent off for another foul. With 10 minutes left, McGarvey headed in his own second and Celtic's fourth goal, and that was a fair reflection of the play. Final score, Celtic 4, Kilmarnock 0. Just a lad knocking in a few goals for the school team, Brian. Well, Celtic fans, I feel, would prefer to remember a more recent clash between the sides a couple of years ago when Hearts came to Parkhead in Premier League business and were thumped 6-0. They'll be looking for something similar today, but while I fully expect Celtic to win, I feel it will be much closer than that. I think Celtic's greater pace will eventually tell, but it may take them some time to break down a Hearts side who parade all their experienced men. Alec and Roddy McDonald, Sandy Jardine and Willie Johnson. Incidentally, among them, they've played in 20 Scottish Cup finals. That's experience. The Celtic team uses that Frank McGarvey passed a morning fitness test and a back injury, and he plays alongside Charlie Nicholas. But George McCluskey failed his test, and young Danny Craney for fouling Frank McGarvey. Shields should have been sent off for a terrible tackle in Danny McGrain, and then Roy Aiken had his name taken for a bad foul in John Robertson. There was very little football being played, and then right on half-time came the high drama. Shields went down in a tackle with McGrain and had to be stretchered off, and when the game resumed, Davy Provan was poleaxed in an off-the-ball incident with Johnston. The referee consulted his linesman, indicated Johnston had butted the Celtic man and sent him off amid amazing scenes which saw the Hearts man having to be restrained from approaching the linesman. It was all really disgraceful and reduced to 10 men. Hearts didn't have a chance. With 8 minutes of the second half gone, McLeod set up Celtic's second goal with a cross from the byline, which was easily headed in by Frank McGarvey, and in 67 minutes Charlie Nicholas got his usual goal with another header. Just for good measure, Nicholas scored Celtic's fourth goal 8 minutes from time, and although Alex MacDonald got one back for Hearts in 88 minutes, it was
not quite half time yet, Brian. Still no scoring, and it will be no consolation for Celtic supporters to know that their team is winning on points. In fact, if Billy Thompson had not been in sparkling form, they would have been comfortably ahead by this time. Saints had begun promisingly enough, but after Duke Sumner took a severe knock in a head clash with Tom McAdam, they were pushed back into defence. The best early chance for Celtic came from a slack pass back by Wilson. Thompson had to move very quickly indeed to Rob McGarvey. The St Mirren keeper was busy for most of the time after that, coming out smartly to put Provan and grasping a deflected shot by Nicholas. He was almost beaten by a quick McGarvey flick which went past the post, but soon after he was out of his goal yet again to kick clear from McGarvey. He produced the same trick again when he raced out to beat Nicholas to the ball, and by the interval which has now been signalled, Celtic must be very weary of the sight of the Scotland number 2 goalkeeper. The half-time score, Celtic 0, St Mirren 0. David, well, there's a real shock for Celtic fans. St Mirren have the full-time score, Celtic 1, St Mirren 1. Celtic snatching the equalising goal through Provan 8 minutes from the end. It was as close as that for the Parkhead team against the Paisley side, which had taken a stunning lead through Fulton in 68 minutes. The final score again, Celtic 1, St Mirren 1.
Harold.
Yes, Brian, well, the team news straight away, George McCluskey failed the fitness test, and Celtic make one change, and that's the return of young Danny Craney to the midfield in place of Dom Sullivan, and for Motherwell, well, they bring back that veteran defender Joe Walk. But the big question here is, are Celtic about to halt the slump which has seen them lose 9 points in as many games, and also the leadership of the Premier Division? We're at the stage of the Championship, only 8 matches left, where even the slightest slip-up by any of the 3 leaders could be fatal, and Celtic manager Billy McNeill is aware of that. Celtic, of course, are anxious to avenge a 2-1 defeat by Motherwell at Fir Park in January, and the man they will be pinning most of their hopes on is Charlie Nicholas, who made that brilliant international debut last Wednesday. He hasn't scored in his last 3 club matches. That's remarkable in itself, but I'm sure he aims to put that right this afternoon.
You will miss the 2 suspended players?
I think they will, because Johannes Edvaldsen has been a big influence since joining them, and also Joe Carson. He's a good player, and you've got a centre forward playing at centre half. I would expect that he will be bolstered by Joe Watt, because I see Joe sitting in behind Andy Harrow. But when you're up against an attack that contains men like Charlie Nicholas and Frank McGarvey, you're going to miss regular defenders.
Indeed, I noticed that Billy McNeill is reported as having said to Charlie Nicholas that he set the standard on Wednesday night and he's going to have to continue it at club level now.
Well, yes,
Yes, I'm sure there's going to be something like about 20,000 fans here, and they'll all expect goals from Charlie today. I don't think they'll accept a below-par performance after what we saw on Wednesday. We know what this man's capable of doing.
All goes well for the fans at Celtic Park. Thank you very much indeed.
Motherwell's Bobby Flavel for a foul on Murdo McLeod after just 6 minutes. Already Celtic have Motherwell under pressure, and that reshaped defence is having a difficult time coping with Charlie Nicholas and company. But at the moment it's Celtic 0, Motherwell 0.
So 1 goal.
Yes, indeed a change, Ryan. 21 minutes played and Celtic are in the lead by a goal to 0. The goal coming after 18 minutes when Frank McGarvey ran onto a glorious pass from Danny McGrain and neatly beat Nicky Walker. And that's no more than Celtic deserve at this point. 31 minutes gone and Celtic still lead 1-0, the goal coming from Frank McGarvey after 18 minutes. Celtic are still very much in charge, and Motherwell have now had a second player booked, Tommy O'Hara, for showing dissent. So Celtic 1, Motherwell 0. 6 minutes, Motherwell's Bobby Flavel was booked for going outside the laws of the game and trying to stem the tide of Celtic attacks. Celtic gave the reshaped Motherwell defence a severe test, and in 18 minutes they took the lead with a tremendous goal. Frank McGarvey running onto a great pass from Danny McGrain to beat Nicky Walker with ease, and that was Celtic's 70th league goal of the season. But 4 minutes later, Motherwell missed a glorious chance to equalise when Brian McClare set things up for Ali Moughlan. But in front of an open goal, Moughlan hesitated and Roy Aitken got back to block the shot. That was one of the few occasions Celtic were in any sort of trouble. Motherwell, on the other hand, had a second player, Tommy O'Hara, booked for showing dissent in 25 minutes. And worse was in store for Motherwell when they went 2 down in 36 minutes, for it was centre-half Andy Harrow under pressure from Charlie Nicholas who knocked the McGarvey cross past his own keeper. So at the moment, Motherwell have a mountain to climb. Celtic 2, Motherwell 0.
Thank you, Jim. There are 3 half-time scores in Scotland. Dundee United 1, Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0, St Mirren 0 and Celtic 2, Motherwell 0. Let's go to Easter Road then. Hibs against Kilmarnock and Gordon Smith.
Half-time score, Hibs 2, Kilmarnock 1, and Hibs deservedly in the lead after 45 minutes of spirited attacking football. And if they'd played this way all season, then there would never have been any relegation worries at Easter Road. The High Bees have been on top throughout. They took the lead in the 9th minute. Graham Harvey crossed from the right and found Arthur Duncan completely unmarked in front of the Kilmarnock goal, and he just coolly sidestepped.
Celtic now seem in an invincible position. Tom McAdam has scored a tremendous goal to make the score. Celtic 3, Motherwell 0. 3 Motherwell 0, and Celtic couldn't have hoped for a better afternoon. A comfortable win, and one which could take them back to the top of the Premier Division depending on what's happening at Pittodrie. 2 goals in the first half had Celtic coasting and Motherwell in deep trouble. The first coming in 18 minutes when Frank McGarvey raced onto a glorious pass from Danny McGrain and beat Nicky Walker with a neat little flick. Then in 37 minutes, stand-in centre-half Andy Harrow, under pressure from Charlie Nicholas, knocked the McGarvey cross past his own keeper, and Motherwell were out of it. They created just 1 chance in that first half, but Ali Moughlan hesitated in front of an open goal and allowed Roy Aitken to clear. For the rest of the time it was Celtic buzzing around Walker. The second half took on a similar pattern, and as Motherwell became more and more frustrated, Andy Dornan and Ali Moughlan were booked just as Bobby Flavel and Tommy O'Hara had been in the first half. Celtic then lost their way a little bit after that, but Motherwell, with little up front, could not take advantage, and then Celtic clinched the points 11 minutes from time when Tom McAdam brilliantly followed a Danny Craney corner into the root of the net. All too easy for Celtic. Final score, Celtic 3, Motherwell 0.
Well, Brian, I think it would take a brave man to predict the outcome of this one, and I have my own views I'll give you later. However, it's a perfect night for what should be a cracker of a match, and the good news for Celtic fans is the return of Tommy Burns. He came through Monday's reserve match at Kilmarnock with no ill effects. His inclusion means that Danny Craney drops back to the bench along with Graham Sinclair, and that means that Willie McStay and Davy Moyes drop out. Dundee United too are at full strength, and manager Jim McLean had no hesitation in naming the same side that beat Rangers 3-1 at Tannadice on Saturday. It should be a fascinating football match tonight, although both sides could be excused for being cautious. Only 1 point separates the sides, with both Celtic and Dundee United having the same goal difference. But to that earlier prediction I promised. I won't sit on the fence, Brian, but I don't think that Dundee United will lose. Sort that one out if you can. However, Parkhead is buzzing with anticipation, and we should be in for a real feast of football. Recently, and I think the reason they've been struggling is because their midfield have missed the skill and the touch of Tommy Burns. He's the kind of player who makes players around him play. He's as valuable to Celtic as Gordon Strachan perhaps is for Aberdeen. gets himself into space, he takes the ball from players and he creates things, and certainly he'll be a big asset to Celtic tonight, and indeed he could prove to be a match winner for them.
Garden.
And half-time after a disappointing first half here at Parkhead, Brian. Celtic 0, Dundee United 0, and Premier League champion Celtic gave early notice that they had every intention of holding on to their title when Paul McStay shot from 18 yards, only to see the ball come back off Hamish McAlpine's post. That came after only 3 minutes, but Dundee United responded, and following a Bannon corner, Pat Bonner had to come out of his box to clear from Stark. It was all a bit physical in the early stages, with United the main culprits, and following a free kick in the 12th minute, Frank McGarvey was left with a chance but shot weakly at McAlpine. Celtic were in total command, and in the 18th minute had a penalty claim denied when Nicholas went down in the box. United, though, raised their game, and their first chance fell to Ralph Milne, but he could only head over from Sturrock's cross, and Richard Gough had a fine shot held by Bonner. It was really very cautious, with play interrupted by the physical challenges, and defences very quick at closing down the opposing forwards. Part of the reason for the game not being the showpiece it was billed was the handling by referee Mr. White of Clarkson, who has struggled to impose his authority on the game and let some terrible fouls go unchecked. So no goals at half-time, and all to play for in the second 45 minutes. Half-time at Parkhead, Celtic 0, Dundee United 0. 15 minutes gone and the Tick have taken the lead. A long ball played from defence, broke towards Paul Hegarty. He made a complete mess of his clearance, trying to play the ball back to Hamish McAlpine, and instead Frank McGarvey to tuck the ball into the empty net and give Celtic the lead. So 61 minutes gone, Celtic 1, Dundee United 0. Back to Pittodrie and David Begg. The final whistle just gone here, Brian. The final score, Celtic 2, Dundee United 0. And a powerful second half performance sees Celtic move 3 points clear of Dundee United and Aberdeen in the race for the Premier Division title. The first half was a disappointing physical affair that saw Celtic dominate the first 25 minutes and Dundee United take charge for the latter part. It could all have been so different because Paul McStay hit the post in the 3rd minute and Celtic had a penalty claim turned down when Charlie Nicholas went down in the box with 18 minutes played. United best efforts in the first 45 minutes was a Milne header that slipped just over and a Gough shot that Bonner held. It was United who set the pace at the start of the second half, with Sturrock miskicking in front of goal and Hegarty bringing Bonner to his knees from a half chance. Celtic, though, still looked dangerous, and in the 60th minute they went ahead. A long ball from defence was chased by Hegarty and McGarvey, and when the United captain missed his pass back to McAlpine, the Celtic striker turned the ball into the empty net. The goal was the boost Celtic needed and brought the 34,000 crowd to life. The pace was fast and furious, with the Parkhead side dictating play and United struggling to get back in level terms. In 12 minutes from time, Charlie Nicholas got a second for Celtic. Roy Aitken made a strong run from midfield, and when the ball broke from Hegarty's tackle, Nicholas chipped the ball over McAlpine and into the net. Surprisingly, United sent on Riley for Neri in a bid to retrieve matters, but it was the Celtic fans who were left to celebrate. It could well be at the end of the season that the goals from McGarvey and Nicholas tonight may just have decided the final destination of the Premier Division Championship. The final score, Celtic 2, Dundee United 0.
Brian, it was very pleasant to think that they could. 8 goals, it was almost in fairy tale land last week. To expect 8 goals today would be, I think, beyond the realms of possibility. Not all 8 goals from Hibs, however, I must say that. Because the meeting of Hibs and Celtic always has that wee bit extra magic about it, and today's scene is perfect. Sun, a firm pitch, and a good-sized crowd, probably about 12,000 already, all providing just the right atmosphere. And of course, we've had that tremendous build-up. Celtic back in top of the Premier League after the midweek defeat of Dundee United, and looking to consolidate that position. And their team is unchanged from the last Saturday, with Graham Sinclair wearing the number 2 jersey instead of suspended Danny McGrain. Hibs, of course, being buoyed up by those 11 goals in the past in their last 2 matches, and that's given their confidence a great boost just at the right time. And they too are unchanged from their last 2 encounters. So here's hoping that the game lives up to our expectations.
Well, Brian, we've got the first goal. It came after only 6 minutes. It was a good shot and good move by Charlie Nicholas, but the ball took a wicked deflection through between the legs of Gordon Ray, and Alan Rough was left helpless. 1-0 to Celtic. We've gone half an hour here. It's now Hibs 0, Celtic 2, and the second goal for Celtic was really a marvellous affair, coming after 27 minutes. Mark Reid did very well to round Alan Snedden, who was fouling him down the left. The low cross was sent over just onto the penalty spot, and Provan hit it first time wide of Alan Ruff's right-hand post. Or right-hand, should I say. It's now Hibs 0, Celtic 2. Provan then slides it into space down this near side to try and find McLeod, but the referee decides, although the ball was down for a corner flag, we have had indeed the full 45 minutes in this first half. The half-time score is Hibs 0, Celtic 2, Gordon Smith.
Yes, a fairly even game. I think Celtic fortunate to be 2 goals in front, but that goal by David Provan was a beauty. Charlie Nicholas getting the first goal in the 6th minute off the legs of Gordon Ray, and then Provan with that tremendous drive in the 27th minute. An even game, Hibs giving as good as they've got, really, and I think being spoiled perhaps by too much whistle and perhaps the very, very close marking.
Yes, a stop-start game, but the half-time score is Hibs 0, Celtic 2.
Easter Road now and David Begg.
Welcome back to Easter Road, where you join us just in time to see the Hibs side joining the Celtic team. We've been out here for 2 or 3 minutes. The match did kick off late in the first half, about 3 minutes late I made it, and we're going to obviously start the second half about 5 minutes behind schedule in total for the afternoon. Referee Mike Delaney is also running out of the tunnel at the moment with the white ball, and that gives me a chance to give you the two sides. Hibs, remember, trailing Celtic by 2-0. For Hibs, it's Rough and Goal, a back four of Snedden, Ray, McNamara and Duncan. In midfield, Callaghan, Rice, Thompson and Turnbull, and the two front men, Irvin and Harvey. For Celtic, it's Bonner in goal, a back four of Sinclair, Aitken, McAdam and Reid, Provan, McStay, McLeod and Burns in midfield, and the two front men, Charlie Nicholas and Frank McGarvey. So the second half now underway, and Hibs are trailing to Rangers 2-1. And really this European Cup Winners' Cup momentum is leaving them unstuck in terms of the domestic programme, having lost to Dundee United, of course, and to St Mirren then last Saturday. They're now trailing Rangers by 2-1. That's the real drama in terms of this afternoon in the Scottish Premier Division. Hibs 0, Celtic 3 at the moment though at Easter Road. Hibs take the corner on the 18-yard line. Nodded back out again. Tommy Burns beats Jackie McNamara to it and heads it forward. The Celtic quite happy with the scoreline, and the Celtic fans here are celebrating. That news from the radio programme from Jim Reynolds has been flashed across onto the terraces where they're listening, and they're very well satisfied with that news from Ibrox. Rangers 2, Celtic 1, and at long last we're seeing some activity in the terraces in terms of cheering. We are the champions, shout the Celtic fans, and that may well be the situation. Although of course Dundee United in second place leads St Mirren by 2-1 down there at Love Street. So you never know, the challenge may not yet be entirely over from the north east, although Aberdeen's hopes seem to be dented, no question about that. But Celtic go forward here down that left hand side. Turning in there is Frank McGarvey. McGarvey midway inside the Hibs half, just allowing Alan Snedden to get in a second challenge, and the ball again goes out on that far side for a throw in to Celtic. McGarvey wanted to take it, Mark Reid said leave it, and now the fullback comes forward to throw it towards McGarvey. Nods it back to Reid, then flicks it inside again looking for Davy Provan. Provan now onto the 18-yard line, but he's just nudged the Hibs player in the process. And so with just 5.5 minutes to go in this match, Celtic continue to dominate, continue to lead by 3-0, and with that scoreline from Ibrox of Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, it certainly looks to me as if this Glasgow side have got one hand perhaps on the league championship flag. With the ball played inside by Graham Sinclair, looking for Paul McStay. Stuart Turnbull gets in the challenge, the ball breaks off McStay and out on this near side for a throw in to Hibs, just towards this left hand corner flag. Substitute Gary Murray gets a chance to throw the ball in, throws it back towards Arthur Duncan, midway inside that Celtic half. Then square and wide to the far side to find Jackie McNamara. McNamara looking up, lifts it over the defence. Bobby Thompson loses his footing though, falls flat in his back, and Pat Bonner steps out to clear. An overarm throw onto the halfway line. Tumult of noise coming from the terraces, and really it's all inspired by that news from Ibrox. The 2-1 scoreline. The flag is up on this near side as Davy Provan thought he got clear, and although he's put the ball into the net, the whistle is gone, and long gone indeed. And so Celtic don't get a fourth goal. Alan Rough goes to the net, retrieves the ball, and the kick for the offside flag is taken short by Ali Brazil. Forward to his captain Jackie McNamara inside the centre circle. Looks up and then lifts a long ball into space, which is cut down there by Graham Sinclair before Gary Murray can run to the ball. And forward once more comes Celtic. Oh, McNamara, terrible sliding challenge, or indeed. Oh, he's in trouble, he's almost certainly off, because of course he was booked in the first half. The referee goes to his top pocket. Jackie McNamara sliding challenge in there on Murdo McLeod. And I think that is going to be at the completion of a sad afternoon for Hibernian.
Yes, I really can't think what McNamara was playing at there, because the ball was well cleared before he went racing, and of course he and McLeod had a wee bit of argument early on in the game, and I think throughout the game since he got that booking, McNamara has been holding himself in check very, very well, but I don't know why he did that. It's very, very sad to see.
A rush of blood to the head with only 4 minutes to go. Jackie McNamara goes inside. The final score at Fir Park is Motherwell 4, Morton 1. 2 valuable points for Jock Wallace's men. 2 Hibs. Final score at Dens Park is Dundee 0, Kilmarnock 0, and no doubt Donald Mackay's men quite happy to have taken 1 point at least, which moves them further away from Morton, who, remember, were on the receiving end of that 4-goal Motherwell onslaught in the second half. Motherwell 4, Morton 1. Final score, remember, at Ibrox, very important one. Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, and the Dons' title hopes take another dive. St Mirren 1, Dundee United 2, and last we heard, perhaps it's still that way down there at Love Street. We'll give you the final score just as soon as we've got it. 1 minute to go here, still Hibs 0, Celtic 3. Hibs down to 10 men, remember, with Jackie McNamara sent off just 3 minutes ago. And forward they come once more. Celtic quite content just to have what they hold. Stringing men across the 18-yard line. The high cross comes over. Ryan Rice gets a good header in. Pat Bonner comes out. Scramble there on the 18-yard line. Davy Provan spares the danger before Gary Murray can cash in. The ball out on this near side for a throw into Hibs. Taken early, but too early. And in steps Graham Sinclair. And Celtic defending in depth at the back. As Hibs push forward, they can catch the Hibs defence in the turn. Forward goes Sinclair over the halfway line. Right to that far side to give Tommy Burns another chance in space to set up something for Celtic. Burns just looks up and checks. Trying to work his way past. Early crossover. An appealing ball, but Alan Ruff is first there, just comes to the 6-yard line, and then rolls it out underarm to Brian Rice. Young red-haired player, but really not much zip in terms of the way he goes forward. Casual ball swung there down this left-hand side, over the head of Bobby Thompson. Tom McCarran turns round, and back it goes again to Pat Bonner. Bonner just trundles it out onto the 18-yard line to Roy Aitken, who will turn round there, and back again once more to Bonner to run out these vital seconds. Have to say that in view of the fare in the last half hour. The final whistle has gone here at Easter Road. It's a very convincing win indeed for Celtic. The final score is Hibs 0, Celtic 3, Gordon Smith.
A very convincing win, David, and they didn't really have to work all that hard for it. The strange thing was, I think Hibs played better in the first half when they lost 2 goals. That Charlie Nicholas shot which went off Gordon Ray's legs, and that cracker goal from David Crofton. Hibs played much better in that half. It was a very even first half, but the second half really, Hibs just didn't show any fire or enthusiasm whatsoever, and after that cracking solo effort from Charlie Nicholas, I think all the fight went out of them. A deserved win for Celtic, but a disappointing match at the end of the day.
As you hear, the crowd disappointed. Hibs finish up with only 10 men. Jackie McNamara being sent off, but the final score is Hibs 0, Celtic 3.
Giving Celtic... David Begg at Easter Road. You're obviously not hearing me. No, we don't.
Hello, Mother.
Hello.
I couldn't hear you.
Well, we don't seem to be getting through. David Beck made contact with them at Easter Road. David, Celtic